Hearted to you already. And now I have the opportunity just to wrap things up for the entire weekend. And so before I give you my closing remarks, I do want to thank a lot of people that are behind the scenes. And just because you don't see them does not mean that they're not significant. These are remarkable people that work so hard in the back room here. They're up early, they stay up late, just to make sure that we all experience the weekend that we have been able to experience. So if you could you all help me thank all these people, please? All the dedicated staff and employees of ACN, the entire production team, the audio, the visual, the lighting, the projection, they all did a great job. All the wonderful interpreters that are in the back of the room all weekend long, thank you so much for all that you do. I don't know how you maintain your voices through the weekend, but you do it. Can we thank all of our leaders that did such a great job in pouring into you all weekend long? All the speakers, all the testimonials, didn't they all do a great job? And last but certainly not least, I want to thank every single one of you. I want to thank you for your commitment. I want to thank you for your belief in us. I want to thank you for the time and the energy that you spent with us over these last 3 days. I just hope and pray that these last 3 days have far exceeded any of your expectations of what you wanted to get out of this weekend. So give yourselves a round of applause for being here with us. And now I would like to do something that's not very typical of my closing remarks. Because normally I would stand behind that podium and I would give you a certain flavor of things that I want to communicate to you, especially the brand new people. But today I want to do something a little bit different. Simply because this is the first and only international event that we're going to have in 2019 for all of you. And I just want to make sure that every single one of you get what you need to get out of these last 3 days. Is that okay? And I would just like to have a conversation with you. I would just like to have a conversation with you because, in fact, I would like for all of you just to sit back and relax and just act like we're all in a living room together. Can we do that? And we're just having a conversation amongst friends, a conversation with someone that wants the best for you. Because the last thing in the world that I want any of you to have happen is for you to miss this moment at ACN. Because I'm here to tell you that, in fact, I know that the majority of you in this room were not in the leadership session on Friday morning because you're just getting started and you didn't qualify to be here. But there were some things that we discussed during the leadership session that I think that you need to hear. I think that for the majority of you, that you don't know what you really don't know. You think that you know about ACN, but I don't know if you really understand the magnitude of what this opportunity can be for you. And I just want to have a conversation with you to end this session. It won't last long, but I just want to make sure that you don't miss this moment. Because I want every single one of you to experience the real ACN. And the real ACN is not what you think. The real ACN is not just acquiring customers and recruiting, and all of that stuff needs to get done. But after all that is said and done, the real ACN is impacting lives. The real ACN is making a difference. The real ACN is helping people like yourselves to want to, that desire to do something spectacular with your lives, that you really have an opportunity to do so. So I just want all of you, to experience the real ACN. Is that okay? And so I want you to just listen intently. And I think that what I have to tell you will be impactful to you. Because I have never witnessed, ever, in my 26 years of being with this company, a season like we're in right now with ACN Next Gen. Never. I've never seen everything come together the way that it has. I've never seen the infrastructure be stronger. I've never seen our menu of services stronger in most countries and getting better. Throughout all of 2019, we have many deliverables that we're going to be giving to every single one of you that's in this room, so that the opportunity tomorrow is going to be much better than today and much better than yesterday. Does that sound good to you? Yeah. So 2019 is going to be a spectacular year. And we've entitled 2019 ACN Next Gen. And many of you don't know this because you just got started within maybe the last couple of months. But the opportunity that you see today in 2019 is so much greater than it was just in 2018. Because we've had a compensation plan enhancement that was effective January the 1st, where we did a number of tweaks that were instrumental in creating unprecedented amount of momentum during this season of opportunity. We've never had the opportunity for a brand new IBO to get customer qualified within their first 30 days and to generate a €75 customer acquisition bonus. Are you excited about that aspect of the compensation plan today? See, I've never seen such goal congruency in our compensation plan as we have today, where there's incentive for everybody to go out and build a business and to get customer qualified, where all the bonuses are released immediately. The other thing that we did with ACN Next Gen is we came out with RVP Gold and RVP Platinum, and for the majority of you, you don't even know what that means. All that you know that it's available. But let me tell you what that means. That means that we poured millions of euro in your pocket by giving you additional residual income for doing the exact same thing that you were doing before we came out with RVP Gold or RVP Platinum. We just want the best for you. And one of the things that I said in my opening remarks yesterday that I'll remind you of is I said that ACN is a very pure system. Is that the only way that we win is if you win. Is that okay? The only way that we can make money is if we show you how to make money. Is that okay? The only way that we can acquire customers is if we teach and train you how to acquire customers. And every time you acquire a customer, you make money. Is that okay? I've never been a part of a more pure system of capitalism than ACN represents today. And if you're good enough, yes, if you're good enough, listen, all the people up there, if you're good enough, yeah, you can walk the stage just like all these people walked the stage over these last 3 days. And here's what I told. I told the leaders on Friday morning that this is the year of protecting your time. Because some of you don't have time. Some of you have paid a price that's unbelievable today. Outside of ACN, inside of ACN. And you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Who am I talking to right now? Where you want to be somebody so bad you can taste it, yes? That's the reason why you're here. And I said this is the year of protecting your time. And one of the things that I said during the leadership session was that you have to identify the time stealers that are in your life. And here's what I told the leaders. I said, over the holidays, I made a list of time stealers. And I made a list of people that were stealing my time. And I made a list of things that I was doing that were not productive, that I considered time stealers. And one of the things that I said on Friday morning, I said, one of the biggest wastes of time that people today are having is on social media. Now, I love social media. And I love being able to connect with my family and friends. I love all that aspect of it. But what I don't like about it is people spend so much time on social media that they don't have time for the important things in their life. And I said that if you just spent 5 minutes each time you look at social media, and if you just did that 30 times a day, and I know most of you do it more than 30 times a day, that's 150 minutes a day. That's 2.5 hours a day. That's 70 hours a month. And yet when you talk to some people about ACN, you know the first thing they say? I don't have the time. Isn't that crazy? But they have time to take pictures of their dinner at night and post it and let everybody know where they're going and what they're doing. But they don't have time to do ACN. The other thing that people say that they don't have is money. I don't understand how people can say they don't have €399 to join an opportunity that could potentially change the course of their family trees forever, and they say they don't have $399, and they don't think that that's a problem. They've been working for 10, 15, 20, 30 years for most of them. And they don't have €399? Is that a problem? Do you think we need to make people aware of their problem? And so I made a list of things that I was doing that I have now eliminated in my life, where I have been more streamlined with my life, more so now than ever. And I made a list of people that I no longer spend time with. Now, I love them. I care about them. But I can't spend time with them. You know why? Because they drain me of my energy. How many of you have people like that in your life right now that you can think of? Are they building you up or tearing you down? Do they want the best for you, or do they just want you to be average and ordinary? See, I'm telling you, unless you get good at what I just told you, you're not going to have time to do the things that you really want to do for your ACN business. And some of you think, see, has this been a great weekend for you? Yeah. How good has it been? Are you excited about ACN? Yeah. Are you excited about the future of our opportunity? Yeah. Can I tell you something? None of it matters unless you do something with it. It doesn't matter. See, it's so easy to be excited when you're here. But what's your attitude going to be like when you leave here? What's your attitude going to be like when you go to your hotel and you check out? Are you going to talk to somebody? Are you going to go back home and you're going to get around all the same old group of people? And they're going to have you to have your belief waver, and you're going to forget about all what happened for these last 3 days. One of the greatest things that I can tell you to make sure that you leave here in the right state of mind is that you have to have the right belief about ACN. And some of you believe that you believe already. In fact, if I asked you a question, how many of you believe at ACN? I believe that most of you would raise your hands because you feel so good. But here's the question that I have for you. If you believe so much in ACN, why have you still not talked to everybody that you know about ACN? You see, if you believe in something 100%, wouldn't you agree that you would have no problem in talking to people about what you believe in? Yes? See, if you think that you believe and you don't talk to somebody, that means that you really don't believe, because there's something that's holding you back. And I'm here to tell you, unless you close that gap, and you really understand and you really believe and you feel so good about what you're doing, that you literally can talk to anybody that you come in contact with about how wonderful this opportunity is. I'm telling you, unless you can do that, nothing significant will happen for you at ACN. In fact, if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. With 100% belief, I can expect great results. Now, if that statement is true, and I believe it to be true, then the opposite of that statement is true as well. And the opposite of that statement is, without 100% belief, I should not expect great results. And so I'm here to tell you today, either you're in or you're out. Either you're all in and you want to do something great and you're willing to close that gap, or I'm here to tell you that you might as well go do something else. How many of you want to become a senior vice president at ACN? Really? Do you want to become a senior vice president? If it took you 5 years to become a senior vice president, would it be worth it to you? If it took you 10 years to become a senior vice president, would it be worth it to you? What if the next 100 people that you talked to all said no? Is there 101 person to talk to? Do you know that there's more? Listen to this. When I read this, it blew me away. Do you know that there's more people alive today than have ever died in the history of the world? You know, when I read that, I said, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, if somebody catches what I'm telling them, they're going to get wealthy. Because there's more people today that need to hear about ACN than ever before. Wouldn't you agree with that? How many people do you know that could use to make some extra money? How many people do you know that would love to save money on services? How many people do you know that would love to get free services with the Refer a Friend program, Strive for 5 program? I mean, how can you beat free? There's so many people to be able to go talk to. And I'm telling you today is a day. Today, there's a decision that has to be made that some of you have never made a decision of, and here it is. That for once, you got to draw the line in the sand where you're never going to go back. Where you're going to move forward. And you're never going to retreat. You're going to move forward. You're going to win. You're going to do great things. Today is a day to be totally sold out with ACN. One of the things that I said in 2018 to close out 2018 was this. No reserves, no retreats, and no regrets. You know what all that means? No reserves, that means you lay it all on the line. Where you don't have any energy left. You pour everything out. You do everything that you can to win. You go to bed dog tired. You wake up excited. You go to bed dog tired again. And you don't wake up. You don't lift your head until you got momentum, until you start to win. That's what no reserves mean. But no retreats is everything. Because if you are doing ACN with this mindset, and here's what you say, that I'm going to try ACN for a while, and I'm going to give it a window of time. But if it don't work out in that window of time, I can always go back to doing what I'm doing. Here is Greg Provenzano's promise to every single one of you. If that's the mindset that you have, I promise you, you will always go back to what you are going to do, because you have options in your life, and the very first time that you experience adversity, you are going to think that this opportunity is not right for you, and you're going to go back to doing what you always did. Is it time to draw the line where there's no retreats for you? Is it time? Unless you draw that line. And here's the commitment that I would make if I were you. I would tell myself right now that no matter what, that I'm going to be here 5 years from now. No matter what. 5 years from now, I am going to be here. And I don't care what happens between now and then, but I'm going to be here, and for the very first time, I'm going to see this thing through. So no reserves, no retreats, and if you do those two things, then you'll have no regrets. See, here's what I found out. And this happened in my life. I grew up in the inner city of Detroit. Many of you don't know that. But I didn't have a lot of privilege in my life. I was not a center of influence when I started direct selling. I didn't know how to dress. I didn't know how to talk to people. But you know what I had? I was hungry to never go back. I was hungry to move forward. And I was willing to figure something out. And here's what I realized. When you're young, you're a victim of your circumstance. There was nothing that I could do about being born in the inner city of Detroit. Nothing. Those were the cards that Greg Provenzano was dealt. But when you're older, when you're an adult, you're no longer a victim of your circumstance. You're a victim of the decisions that you make for yourself. We're not a product of our circumstance. We're a product of our disciplines. So every single one of you want to become a senior vice president. My question to you is, are you willing to pay the price to become a senior vice president? Are you willing to sacrifice to become a senior vice president? Are you willing to do the things that most people are not willing to do in order to become a senior vice president? I read something a few weeks ago that blew me away. How many of you know Usain Bolt? You know the name Usain Bolt? Woo! The fastest runner in the world. Do you know that in 3 Olympics, he ran a total of 115 seconds in 3 Olympics? And you know how much he made for that 115 seconds? $119 million US. For 115 seconds. But you know what price he had to pay for that 115 seconds? 20 years of training. He trained 20 years for that 115 seconds. Was it worth it for Usain Bolt? Yeah. Do you think that when Usain Bolt was training for 20 years, that he had to separate himself from everybody else that he was hanging around with? Do you think that he ate like everybody else? Do you think that he woke up when everybody else was waking up? Do you think he went out to lunch and had a cheeseburger and fries like his friends? No, what was he doing? He was training. He was in training. He sacrificed. He set himself apart. And I'm telling you, that's exactly what we need to do in order to win. In order to not be a part of the masses, you have to turn your back on the masses, and you got to conduct something that is going to be awesome for you. That's what you need to do. You need to read. You need to be careful. You need to be careful who you hang around with. You need to be careful who you listen to. You got to recondition your minds. Because everybody else, most people just want to drag you down. But when you get in the ACN environment, this is what I love about ACN. All that we want is the best for you. All that we want to do is for you to win. All that we want you to do is to change the course of your family trees forever. But you got to pay the necessary price. And the best way that I know for you to stay in this game is for you to elevate your thinking and utilize personal development to change your thought process, to elevate your mind. Because here's something that was so, it was so prolific for me to understand. Is that everything in your life is defined by two things. Just two things. Where you've been and who you've been with. Where you've been and who you've been with. Let me tell you, let me give you a scenario. A baby that is born and maybe 8 months into it, they start to talk. How many possible languages can that baby speak at that moment in time? How many possible languages? All of them. The only thing, like if they were born into a French home, they're going to speak French. Italian home, they're going to speak Italian. A Spanish home, they're going to speak Spanish, yes? So it's who they spend time with and who they listen to that produces what language that baby has unlimited possibilities. Here's my question to you. Here's my question. Do those possibilities ever end? Never. Because if they grew up in a Spanish home, but later on in life they go and spend time in a French home, they're also going to learn French. Or if they go to some other home that speaks another language, they would learn that language. There's unlimited possibilities for that baby. Yes? I'm here to tell you today that you have unlimited possibilities for you. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is your thinking about what's possible for you based upon who you've been with and where you spent your time. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. And I'm here to tell you, our responsibility to you is this. Is to provide hope and opportunity for you and to provide an environment for you to win. And that's where our responsibility begins. That's where our responsibility ends. And your responsibility to your people is to provide them hope and opportunity and an environment for them to win. And I'm here to tell you that you have so much more capacity, so much more that you have that you are capable of doing, that you don't even know that you're capable of because you've never tested your capacity. It's never been tested because you always retreat back to your comfort zone, which is what I talked about on Friday morning. Let me do this with you. Raise your hands as high as you can. As high as you can. Raise your hands as high as you can. Everybody, raise your hands as high as you can. Now just raise them a little bit higher. Just a little higher. Can I ask you a question? If I told you to raise your hands as high as you can, and you thought that you were raising your hands as high as you can until I asked you to do it a little bit higher, then you had a little bit more in you, yes? That's how your life is. And I'm telling you, you got to get around people that will stretch you. You get around people that want the best for you. You get around people that want more for you. That's the ACN environment. I know how bad some of you need ACN to work. I know how much you're hurting. I know that you look at your family and nothing significant has ever happened in your family. And you think you got an uphill battle. But I'm telling you, if you knew where we've come from, if you knew where I came from, you would know that there's great possibilities for you. Because you look at us today and you think, oh my goodness, look at these people. I'm telling you, these people are just like you people. We're no different than you. We needed something to work for our family just like you need ACN to work for your family. And the only difference between us and you is we just didn't quit. And we've been at it a little bit longer than most of you have been at it. That's the only difference. My question to you is, are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to go through what you need to go through? I just want the best for you. And I'm telling you, it's not a matter of capacity. I know that if I ask you the question, do you think that you have much more to give than you've ever given? I know what that answer is. It's not a matter of capacity, it's a matter of conditioning. Just like Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world. Was he always the fastest man in the world? No, he had to condition his body. He had to condition his mind. I want the same thing for you. And I don't want the next 5 years to go by without something significant happening for every single one of you. See, Lord willing, 5 years from now, we're all going to be 5 years older, yes? Yes? Do you want the next 5 years to be a lot greater than the previous 5 years? You know, in order for that to happen, that we have to do something different for the next 5 years than we did in the previous 5 years, right? We all know the definition of insanity. Now it's time to do something greater. Now it's time to do something more. Here's what when my kids were young, I had an older guy come and tell me this because he saw how frantic we were. How many of you have young kids and your lives are a little bit frantic right now? Yeah, or maybe single parents, right? I have so much respect for single parents. You know why? Because you have no sick days. You have to make something happen. Isn't that true? So when our kids were young, I had an older guy come and tell me, and during those frantic days, here's what he said. He said, the days are long, but the years are short. And I never understood it when he said it, but I understood it. I understand it today more so than ever because my kids, I told you in my opening remarks yesterday, all my kids are grown. My oldest daughter gave us a grandchild. You saw Addie on the screen. You know how fast that happened? Just like this. Just like this. ACN's 26 years old. ACN's 20 years old in Europe. You know how fast that happened for us? Just like this. You know how fast your life is going by? Just as quick. This is already the end of February. And here we are. 2019. Next gen is here. Next gen's here to stay.
Next gen.
I told you that in order to have a next gen, we had to have a first gen, yes?
Yes.
Would you agree we had a pretty good 26-year run, yes?
Yes.
I'm telling you, the next 26 years, we're going to blow away everything that we've ever done in the first 26 years of our history. Every single one. We told you the beginning of this weekend that 2019 we are going to relaunch Europe. I want to see a show of hands of how many of you are going to be part of that relaunch. How many of you are going to play a significant role in the relaunch of Europe? I don't care if there's senior vice president, Circle of Champions members in the front row, they're all raising their hands. People up there, I see you're raising your hands. You're going to be part of the relaunch of Europe. We're going to do something great together, folks. We're going to do something significant. This is the greatest that ACN has ever been. But it's not the greatest that we will ever be. And I'm here to tell you, just like, remember I said you're a victim of your decisions, not a victim of your circumstance as an adult? I'm telling you, you are one decision away from being ahead of the greatest growth that this company will ever experience for ACN Next Gen 2019. And to close everything out, here's what I want to tell you. That this weekend, we've taken one thing away from you. Here it is. Never again can you honestly tell someone that you never had a chance. Never again can you do that. You can't blame your upbringing. You can't blame your parents. You can't blame your beliefs. You can't blame the color of your skin. You can't blame your lack of education. You can't blame anything. If you don't win at ACN, it's because of you. We have everything in place, and it's getting better with ACN Next Gen 2019. How many of you can become regional vice presidents in the future of this company? How many of you want to become senior vice presidents in the future of this company? I'm here to tell you folks, it's time to start living your best life now. Right now is when it starts. And as soon as you leave here this weekend, you can make a decision to do something great and to jumpstart your business, or to go on and do what you've always done. I wish the best for you. We want the best for you. And I'm going to encourage every single one of you to get out, maybe for the very first time, get out of your comfort zones. Let's start doing something great. Let's talk to people about something that can change the course of their family trees forever. Is that a deal? God bless all of you.